Thank you very much. I just want to invite everyone into the room. So good evening, everyone. Director General Viola, ladies and gentlemen, and colleagues and friends. It's a great pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to the NTNU European Conference in 2024. My name is Grande, and I'm the Rector at NTNU. The European Conference is a yearly event, and this is actually the 8th time we organize the conference. And it's become a yearly appointment for the NTNU in Brussels, an appointment with Europe. And we like to believe that the conference become an important reference point, an important meeting place for exchange and dialogue about the European research and innovation. And I'm proud and also honored to say that the interest in the conference and the attendance, and also the list of speakers, indeed indicates that this is the case. And then you might ask, why NTNU? Why do we do this? Norway is not an EU member state, I guess you all know. But Norway is fully integrated in the European Research and Innovation framework programs. Norway is aligned with the ERA policy agenda, part of ERA, and Norway associated to the framework programs, not only the framework program for research and innovation, but also in education. And the European Economic Area Agreement, which Norway has with the EU, secures strong, long-term and committed association to the programs, a special case association. And there is actually a political consensus in Norway that our interest and attendance of Norway participating in the framework programs, so that there is no political issue if we should or should not. And if you look back in time, NTNU has actually made a long-term investment in the European research and innovation. We're trying to make a strategic approach to increase the portfolio of projects. We try to exploit full breadth of the framework programs, all the pillars, from basic research to innovation. And this conference, the European Conference, is an important element of our strategic approach to have that focus. And we want to contribute to the European research and innovation and higher education. We want to be a solid and a trusted partner, and the conference is one tool in our kit to do that. And today, or the topic of the year's conference, the midterm evaluation of the Horizon Europe, and looking now ahead to the next framework program, FP10, we have named the conference 10, an order of magnitude change towards a new European research framework program, what to keep, what to improve, and where to invest. We should ask the important questions, or the important and fundamental questions about the future European research and innovation, and in a global context. We should look ahead to the new program with anticipation and expectation. But there are also reasons to be concerned. Starting with the geopolitical situation we are facing today, the challenges or the concerns come. It will affect the knowledge sector, but also remember that knowledge is power. A part of this is to also handle responsible international collaboration and the so-called export control. This is crucial. It's important to look at or to keep track or to keep in mind the openness and international collaboration, the importance of openness, and also to partner with like-minded countries, so-called partner countries like Canada, New Zealand, Australia. That is also important for the current framework program, but also most likely also for the next one. But not least, partnering with low and middle income countries is also very important in the context of a just transition. And the so-called LMIC countries with Africa, a different situation than just a few years back. And this strategic importance of these countries to Europe and to the world, not on an aid-based but equal terms academic collaboration. And finally, there are also countries of concern, the same countries also leading the knowledge and technology development, and how to avoid the global knowledge system and the global research and innovation system to be disentangled or polarized. And if you look ahead, we need to also solve the climate crisis, the loss of biodiversity, the food crisis, and current coming health crisis. We need also the global research and innovation system to be working as one. And how we handle knowledge and technology with dual use potential becomes also key. And there is a white paper now on dual use knowledge, a suggested possible path in a European context. And in my country, in Norway, there is a similar assessment going on. And I'm sure the same discussion goes on in many other European countries and around the world. We believe that we need one research system and that the solution must be found within a single research system. Different solutions can be anticipated within the system or one system. And how we handle knowledge and technology development with both civil and military potential becomes also important in budgetary considerations. And the dual use discussion has implication for the European budget for research and innovation, the budget of FP10. And concerned, like many others, the investment in the defense sector will also will result in, it's a concern that it can lead to a weakness or a weak framework program with a limited budget. So how we handle research, innovation, and technology development with dual-use potential will be key in this context, and this will be a very important discussion in the time ahead. And in the midst of conflicts and war, we need to keep our focus on the social challenges I mentioned earlier the world is facing. Need a continued strong research and innovation effort to solve the societal challenges we have. Tomorrow, we will have parallel sessions on oceans, health, and energy, 3 of the thematic areas which has been prioritized at our university. In the ocean session, we'll take a deep dive into the possibilities and the obstacles ahead when it comes to achieving the goals for restoration and sustainable harvesting of the European waters and sea basins. In the health section, we will address EU policies facilitating a digital transition in healthcare. And in the energy transition, in the session, we will also ask what research and innovation policies are imperative for Europe to achieve its industrial development goals and also to reach net zero emissions by 2050, which is not too far ahead. In the NTNU position paper on FP10 that we will publish tomorrow, we will argue, along with many others, for a 2 million euros and a ring-fenced budget for FP10. We have also put important topics on the agenda in the NTNU European Conference 2024. To mention some of it, an analysis of the current situation for RISE in Europe, what the political baseline for the new framework program and priorities will be in the years to come, openness to the world and research security in a challenging international context. And on all these topics, we have excellent speakers, and I really would like to thank everyone contributing to the conference. I would also like to use the opportunity to thank the NTNU Brussels office for organizing the committee. It's maybe a bit too early since we haven't done it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be successful. And to that end, what we are going to discuss during the NTNU European Conference in 2024 is of utmost importance, not only for our institution, for my country, but also for Europe, hopefully. It's about future of international European academic cooperation. It's about international knowledge cooperation, never more important than this exact moment in history. This has surely been said before at different times throughout the history, but it's not less true now. And at the same time, international collaboration never been more challenging than actually right now. And this duality we must actually handle. Both the current and the next framework programs must handle it. So to summarize, we are talking about knowledge for a better world, the vision of our institution. So thank you very much for your attention. And then I would like to invite to the stage my colleague, NTNU Prorector Toril Hernes. Please, Toril.
Thank you to our Rector Tor. And as you all heard, we will during these days discuss both the existing Horizon Europe program, but also look into what would be and how would we like the next framework program to work, starting in 2028. And as our Rector Grande told us, NTNU is doing also quite well in Horizon Europe, exploiting the full breadth from basic research, excellence research to innovation. I think many of you that are here today have a lot of experience in participating in the existing program and also have new ideas of how to improve the existing program into the next one. And to discuss these topics, I'm so happy to have Dr. Roberto Viola with us tonight. And Dr. Viola is Director General of DG Connect in the Commission, and he has been in this position since 2015. And he was also the Deputy Director General from 2012 to 2015. So a warm welcome to Roberto, please. So we need the microphone, yes, thank you. Yes? So Dr. Roberto Viola, you have been responsible for many of the innovation that has been done in the existing program. And we will discuss several parts of this. But first, in recent years, the European Commission has launched several kind of regulatory interventions and also a kind of strategic approaches when it comes to digitalization and so on. Can you elaborate a little bit on these interventions or innovations that you have actually introduced and why and how you look upon them, please?
Thank you very much. First of all, for the invitation. Then I answer the question, I swear. But I would like to spend a couple of words about thanking the Rector, you, Pro-Rector, the Brussels office for having invited me. I confess to be a long-time friend on NTU. And I even confess the first time I visited your university, that reveals my age, it was before the year 1990, so in the prehistory. I was working at the European Space Agency, having responsibility for programs that were actually in NTU. And I immediately fell in love with the university and with Trondheim. And ever since that I come back, it's always for me such a pleasure and such an admiration for the work you do. So when Massimo asked me to be here tonight, I said this is an honor for me and a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Roberto. So you are actually an NTNUer. if you can say it like
Well,
that.
in a way, a little bit. Allow me to say that with very humbly, but a little bit, yes.
Okay.
So, to your question now. I think this years have been extraordinary. Frankly, in many respects, the Rector touched upon it. We had a pandemic, the war of aggression to Ukraine, inflation, energy crisis, whatever emergency you can think in a science fiction book, we had it. And I mean, human beings are so, and especially Europeans, that only in emergency they function a bit better, I mean, in terms of being responsive and being quick. And I think what happened in the digital world has been rather extraordinary because we managed to kind of attach some concrete legislation, some concrete way of being human, being respecting, I mean, democracy and fundamental freedom around those words to have a number of things that now compose, in a way, our DNA, or what we want about the digital society. So we have in place the protection of people against online harm, which is the Digital Service Act, protection of companies against excessive powers of the online platform, that is the Digital Market Act. We have a data law and part of it is also the health data space, which is part of this big picture about using data, utilizing data for good. We have an identity framework, the EU Digital Wallet, that is valid for all European citizens. And we have the I Act, the newborn kid, which completes a little bit this vision. And of course, media freedom. For the first time, the European Union published today in the official journal as the Media Freedom Act to protect quality journalism. So in this respect, we try to do this with the idea that we should be serious about what we say. And of course, we need, and we are trying to do also excellency, and a lot of excellency. And this is, in a way, your task, but our task is to make your life easy in producing excellence.
So thank you. So all these acts, in a way, it's a kind of making a strategic attention to important areas that the Commission would like us to focus on. Is that the intention? Or could you say a little bit more about, you have the AI Act, you have the SHIP Act, you have all the digitalization focus and so on. Could you say, do you find that you really can, that these positions, papers, and so on has brought some impact into the program? And if so, how?
Well, many of those acts are European law that is valid for 500 million citizens. So, I mean, they are all relatively new, so the effect will deploy. But the whole idea is to say, you as a citizen, you have the right of a democratic environment. You have the right of choosing your trusted sources of information. You have the right that your kids are protected online. You have the right of having safe and trustworthy AI. You have the right to own your identity. So these are fundamental elements. Of course, the European construction is very different from the US construction, which is made of a kind of peak of power, economic power, excellency, which is in the Silicon Valley. The rest looks very flat. Europe is much more distributed. Europe is much more open to different models. And I think this kind of, looking at the digital society that has to have rules that fit our being is, in a way, the expression of the European way of being.
But making all these, strategic approaches, could you say that this has also something with the geopolitical situation to do, so that you really could get focus on areas which are important to Europe and make us to be competitive as compared to, for example, China and US when it comes to both developing and using, for example, artificial intelligence?
Yeah. First of all, we don't do these things to teach lessons to the rest of the world, but we say, look, I mean, these are important things. Now, before we go to the competition space, let's again a little bit think about the democracy space. It's this way of having commercialized the internet. The internet is the most beautiful, one of the most beautiful gifts to the human beings. I mean, when I was young, I had 10 books. I could afford 10 records, I mean, with a little pay as a student. And now the students have infinite amount of records, infinite amount of books. This is incredible. But the commercial internet that pushes you trash content, trash in, trash out, has done an irreparable damage to democracy. And we see it every election and every day. We see it and we touch it. So I think, first of all, repairing our society for us, it's very important. Telling non-democratic states that it's not okay what they are doing. It is not okay to support Russia in the invasion of Ukraine. It is not okay to use digital to control people. I think it's a very important and solid message we are giving. It's also not okay that the US system cannot pass laws about, online life. Now, there's indeed a competitive dimension of this discussion, especially when we enter into the deep tech, take microchips. Now, again, I think we have to be mindful that the world is not what it used to be or what we dreamt the world to be. So if something happens, I mean, we cannot say, look, we have no microchips. I'm sorry. I mean, it happens something irreparable, and now we don't know how to do it. I mean, in a world where the globalization is entered in a very deep crisis, I must say, of course, economists in this room would say that's not good. And I, in a way, would also agree, but this is what it is. I mean, it's important that Europe finds an intelligent way to autonomy, because, I mean, closing Fortress Europe will lead nowhere. I heard the plea for openness from the Rector, which I subscribe, but also openness doesn't mean that we are naive at the same time. I mean, being open to those that want to spy and use what is our knowledge actually against us, this would be being naive. Being open to our trusted friends around the world is being intelligent.
I agree with you. And I think perhaps that's also the reason why you're also focusing on the ethical, social, all the, important issue about new technologies, and also when it comes to the individual human being and so on. And that also brings me over to another theme, and that is the role of universities when it comes to the framework program. And I think universities has a very special role in the framework program, but what do you think?
I think we need to think in a certain sense why what happens frequently in the US, in Europe, doesn't really click in the same way. So this virtuous circle, the more you are excellent as a university, the more you attract interest, the more you attract capital, the more you attract excellency. Somehow, I'm not saying, I don't know enough about Norway to say whether it's in Norway, but I know about realities, some realities in Europe. I say that this is definitely the case. Now, then the next question could be, I do it myself, the question. But then what the Commission says, what the Commission would do about it. Look, let's start with AI. We kind of launched this AI innovation package with a provocation, in a way, which is this AI factories. Now, don't think it's a provocation. It's an oxymoron in a way. Don't think about people with a kind of blue suit, dark with oil and whatever, not dark in face, dark with oil. AI factories, it's because a factory used to be a place where you have a block of material and you subtract to this block to create something in a co-working space with the help of some machines. Now the idea is that we would virtually collocate supercomputing, data, and especially brains, together with startups, larger companies, to co-create together the AI we want. And we are extremely pleased to see that this is already happening. I mean, when I see the ecosystem around Lumi in Finland, around Leonardo in Bologna, again, not simply 1 kilometer away from the supercomputer, but all with the participating members. For instance, Norway participates in Lumi. Then it's, I mean, I start to say, this is something that works. And now, paradoxically, what you need are buildings for the students. So the most innovative thing about AI is to build more infrastructure for the students. Tell me which students can live in Paris. I mean, you tell me, yeah, we have the most beautiful cities in Europe. Try to live in Milan with the student salary, I mean, or the student allowance. Try to live in Paris. And then you tell me. So the AI factories, we will insist, are places where you do an investment on student housing, where you do an investment not only in the machine, but also in the brains. So we are extremely serious. We have proposed a modification of our Euro HPC regulation. We hope in a month or so that this will pass. We will put on the table fresh 700 million euros plus all my inverted comma, remaining money into generative AI, AI factories and all of this. And I would like to see participants to Digital Europe. Norway is a participant, committing, I'm going to realize an AI factory.
Okay, I hope that many of you that are here now heard the challenge that we actually got here. So that's thank you for that. I also would like to hear your opinion about innovation. And innovation and excellence in research. Because there are some sayings that, you know, China and US can make more impact of research than we do in Europe. I'm not, you know, do we agree on that or do we not agree on that? If you agree on that, or if you agree that we could make more impact from research in Europe, how and what would your suggestion be?
Look, we go back to what we started to kind of construct together an answer. Excellency is not something to be ashamed of.
We want excellency.
Exactly. But, I mean, excellency has a price. Excellency has a price. I mean, if you are average, I'm sorry, you are not excellent. Now, yeah, it seems an oxymoron, but it seems an obvious thing to say. But if you think our university system comes out of the '68, comes out of the student revolution, comes out of the idea university for everyone. And then fees has to be as low as possible. Everyone has to go to the university. University everywhere, even in a small town, there must be a university. This is the contrary, yeah, I'm afraid to say, of excellency. Now, would we want that an average student in Europe pays 70,000 euros to go to the university? No, we don't want it. Do we want that our excellencies are free to hire the best professor, to do the best agreement possible with the private sector, and be selective on the student they hire? I would say yes. Yes. Because this helps the rest of the system. And we should not be ashamed of saying, look, you are so, but why we accept it in sport? Why we accept it in sport? You have one of the most paid footballers of the world. It's okay. I mean, we accept it, but we don't accept it in science. Whilst this is perfectly acceptable in the United States. with a kind of different system is acceptable in China. So I think we are, in a way, so good in values, but also so prisoner of the system that everything has to be equal. And this system does not lead to excellency. And I think that is no shame that also the next framework program rewards excellency and asks the member states to be mindful about excellency and do the reforms which are necessary. And every time this will be a discussion, it will be an extremely painful discussion. I know this.
It demands some priorities,
And courage.
both within the universities in order to enhance excellency, and I think also in the funding system, both nationally and in the Commission as well.
Yeah.
But I totally agree with you. Excellency is also, it's not only important, but it's also the stepstone of innovation.
Yeah.
So my point is that if you are in the middle, the research would not be so innovative as well. So excellency is also important for innovation. Or don't you agree?
I totally agree. I totally agree. And another element of excellency is to be able to link it with an innovation ecosystem, as you say. So we are almost boring because we continue to agree. We should find something where we disagree.
Yeah.
But on this, I cannot agree more. If you take our quantum physics ecosystem in terms of quality of research, top of the world, top of the world. If you take how much public money is going to quantum, more than China and the United States. If you now start to sum up how much money in total is spent on quantum in the United States and China, this is more than Europe. So I think the kind of the next step from excellency of research to go to innovation, that's where we have some work to do.
Interesting. So perhaps we can find an area where we not agree then.
Okay, let's try.
Okay. So you heard our rector, Grande, said that NTNU would like one research system. And now we are discussing dual-use technologies. And we know that due to the war, and there has been a lot of discussion about, developing and research that are for, the public, but also for defense use. So we have the same discussion in Norway, actually. So what do you think? I know that there is in the moment a discussion also in the Commission, and all these white papers and so on, but do you have something to say about it?
I think if we are serious about competitiveness, role of Europe, leadership, we need to look at a program that doubles in terms of funding. Now, this is unrealistic, but maybe not. Because the first thing we need to reflect is how the European research program can intelligently coexist with the national programs. And there's a lot of work to do. The second thing, I'm afraid to say, but I say it with friends, we spoke about excellency, but then this also means priorities. I'm afraid to say so. Now, who doubts that AI is a game changer? I don't doubt it, and I can explain it even quickly, but I'm sure here I'm preaching to the converters, so I don't insist on it. But AI, it's a very small fraction of this framework program, almost nothing. Then there's something that doesn't really match. So I think it needs to be kind of breaking the research program in many different streams. But I think it needs to have a serious discussion on how to combine intelligently the national program and the European one to double the budget, because when you do that, you double or you triple the budget, and also have the sense of priority. By the way, the sense of flexibility. There are emerging issues because of the crisis we are in. Take the race to have a lithium-free battery. This is now quintessential. Was it that important 7 years ago? No, I had to have all sorts of discussions with my colleagues. Is it better hydrogen or the battery? I mean, should we finance one or the other? Now, the answer is we should finance both, probably. And the intensity of it should be much more than what we thought 7 years ago. So a program that has 7-year cycle needs, in a society like ours, continuous checks, or at least a serious midterm check, to kind of fine-tune.
I was still thinking, because now we are talking about national and European policies and how these programs should work together, and we are talking about excellence in research and innovation. Do you see that there could be some kind of different roles in this respect, meaning that the European Commission is taking care of excellency, while the national systems all around in the different countries make innovation based on excellencies funded by the European programs, for example?
I would see such a distinction difficult to engineer in a certain sense. I think the effect of a national program, this is my experience, is to kind of make sure that the research and innovation has a solid local anchor, which is important. So you kind of have a common denominator, which is the research, European research programs, and then if you combine the two, you also anchor it with where the taxpayers are paying the money, because it would be a bit bizarre that the Norwegian taxpayer pays only the research that takes place in Portugal. I mean, people will not understand it. So in a certain way, I know there's a huge discussion about, for instance, you take the space programs, the so-called geographical balance, geographical return, whatever. I think this is not an evil. On the contrary, it reassures local politicians, people that vote, that they have a solid return in their territory, what happens. So my plea would be combine the funds, and by combination, naturally, you have a kind of guaranteed return in terms of knowledge return, in terms of excellency, in the territories. But I would not do the distinction. We do kind of over-the-cloud things in Europe and more concrete things at the national level. We have found an area where we have a slight different point of view.
No, I didn't say that I would like it like that. I was just like to challenge you.
It was a trap, a provocation.
Okay, we will try to soon end this
because
this nice talk.
We are in between nice food and drinks.
I know. But I have something I really would like you to hear your opinion, because now you have been following the program, the European Horizon Europe.
Digital Europe.
Yes, and what are you most satisfied with? And then you know that the next question would be, if you could do it up again, what would you have done differently?
Well, difficult question. What I must say, I can say I've done it, is when you reminded that I took the helm of DG Connect in 2015, so long time ago in a way, you would say. I said, what we do for excellence in science and supercomputing, science infrastructure. We spend here and there. Yeah, but I mean, where are we in the world? Well, number 30, number 40, not bad at the end. I said, no, that's not for me. So we need to be having the best open science infrastructure of the world. But this is impossible, we'll never do it. We have done it. We have done it. Our supercomputing network is open to researchers, and is the best of the world now. With the inauguration of Jupiter in a few months from now, we will have the first European exascale together with this nice name, Lumi, Leonardo, Mare Nostrum, all these things distributed around Europe. Then they will come Jules Verne in France, of course, with what other name? Jules Verne. And now, as I said, we are investing in these AI factories, and I think we did it. This I'm very proud. And that shows when we all go together, national funds, we go together, European funds, scientific community, we have a goal, we can realize. And EuroHPC is an organization of 32 countries and expanding, I mean. So I think this I'm quite satisfied. I mean.
Yeah, congratulations on that.
Now this the tough
Yes,
one, what
yes.
I'm not satisfied of. In a way, I alluded to, I think there are some advances that we could have done in a much quicker way if we would have believed more in the concept of flagships. In this framework program, we lost a little bit the flagships. We went for these super duper missions where you don't really understand exactly, like, I mean, you say, supercomputer, I want to be #1 in the world. Okay, I understand. Now, we went into a more complicated and elaborated form of KPIs. And when I look at what we could have done in new materials, for instance, for batteries, or new ways of storing and producing hydrogen, new ways, much more deep investment in something that you know very well, which is advanced medical screening and really bringing down the innovation to the people. I think we could have done better.
So
and it's also my fault.
Yeah, more specific flagships and priorities then for being really excellent in some fields. I hear you.
And I don't say I said it. I said also I should have done better.
My last question before we all go to have something to eat. You know a little bit about NTNU, and there are many from NTNU here. So do you have some recommendations for all of us?
The rector is looking at me. Look, I wish you all the best. I wish really the most striking success because you deserve it. What to say? Attract really the best students of the world to come to this beautiful environment, open, nice city, nice nature. I think you have everything really to attract the best. This is my wish.
Thank you, Dr. Viola, and you're always welcome to Trondheim and Ålesund and Gjøvik as well. Yes, thank you so much. A warm applause for Dr. Viola.
Thank you.
And then I think it's time for some food, isn't it? I don't know. Massimo or someone perhaps would like to guide us?
Okay, so the technicians are Italians, just for you to know. They are friends. That's good. But the price was extremely more convenient than the Brussels one. But apart of this, there is food served in that area. So just move out and enjoy the rest of the evening. And as I like to say, network like hell. So please do it. Exploit the conference. Thank you.
Hello? Yeah. Hi, sorry. So, yeah, we were misled. So you can have the drinks here. So just stay here and enjoy.